Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, this is Natalie James and today on Chatting with Nat, we have the honor of having multidisciplinary artist Treneti. Treneti is a multidisciplinary artist who harnesses the apex of her creative energy through sound. As a self-taught musician, vocalist, bassist, producer, and lifelong professional dancer, Treneti is a prime example of creative limitlessness found with the proper convergence of trust in the unknown and dedication. Born and raised in inner-city Chicago, Treneti is heavily influenced by her Chicago house roots. A true New Earth Renaissance woman, Treneti is a trailblazer in the new and evolutionary field of regenerative arts. That was a mouthful, but it was great. Let's give her a round of applause. Hi, Treneti. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thank you for the introduction.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm still hanging in there. I woke up and I'm still breathing. And I say that, I mean, literally, when you get up every day, you're just like, what else is going to happen? You know, you went from the elections to George Floyd to a pandemic, to tsunamis, earthquakes, Roe versus Wade, monkeypox, COVID had a baby, or a bunch of babies. You know what I mean? So you wake up, you're like, hey,
yeah.
I made it to see another day. I still witnessing mass shootings and all this crap, but hey, I'm still here. So how have you been doing during all of this craziness?
I mean, I've honestly been doing really well. I can't complain. I live a very specific lifestyle, pretty like introverted naturally, like a bit of a hermit. I'm usually really deeply immersed in my own space. And when everything kind of started at the beginning of COVID, I actually got excited because I felt like the time that I had been training for, like the thing that I came to this planet for was like beginning. Like it was no longer in the training zone. It was in like the, all right, we're doing this. And so what happened for me, my business has started to flourish as everything else started to crumble. The services that I offer started to be more desired. So I just find myself, and do find myself just busy. And I agree with you, though, with the just gratitude for each day. And I have such a blessed vessel. I do definitely take care of my vessel intentionally, but I have not experienced any sickness through this time personally. And I am very, very grateful that my vessel is able to navigate this world in the way that it does. So I'm riding the waves and just, you know, holding the space and the edges where I can and letting things move through me as needed, but mostly just trying to stay out of it.
Right. No, I hear you. I unfortunately got COVID twice, and the long-term effects of that, people don't believe that, but it's true. You can have that. So
oh yeah,
it's been really crazy. You know, trying to adjust to all of this. They want to just boost you with everything. Natalie's done with that, by the way. Okay, so here's one of the things, there's a question I like to ask everybody, and I give you a little synopsis of, you know, obviously the pandemic and hell, everything else that's been going on has been cray, but especially with the pandemic, people have lost lives, people have lost family members, people have lost limbs, people have long-term effects of COVID. You know, there's so many different variants. People have had it several different times. it's just been a whirlwind of things. But out of that came pros. You know, one of the things I saw is family members were walking together. It's not something that should be unusual, but it is. Everybody's normally going at a fast pace. They don't really have time for that. So what the pandemic did is open the pathway for people to get to know their family members again. And then there's some people, like my colleagues, that decided to cut back on work hours because they realized they weren't spending enough time with family members. Then, you know, with climate change, my God, the pollution level went down when we were not in the streets. These animals were like, you know what? I hope they don't come back, but we did. You know, too bad for them. I love animals and Mother Nature and all that stuff. And then I read a lot of articles about people that decided to quit their jobs, and so people wanted they know they need to make money, but they rather do something that makes them happy while they're doing that work, while they're making that money. So a lot of people took the time to say, look, I'm going to do this, but I need to do my passion. I need to do what my soul is yearning for. And then you have artists like you and I that, you know, created EPs, albums, singles. They rebranded. They decided not to do music anymore. So there was a lot of self-introspection about who people wanted to be, no matter what modality they're working in. Like, for example, you know, artists wanted to be more of an effective player. I know I was thinking about that before. Now, you know, I read social impact message songs that, you know, a lot of people don't sing about, like, you know, when people block people on social media, because it happens. So the question is, during this time, did you have a lot of self-introspection? Was there anything you wanted to change about yourself as an artist, or did things remain the same?
Yeah, I think it was a total transformational period for everyone. And for me, I've been dedicated to my art since I was 11 years old. I excelled through school. That's how I was able to get out of the hood. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Inglewood. My grandmother told me if I got good grades and went to college, I could get myself and the family out of the hood. So that's what I've been on that path literally since I was 2 years old. I have an exceptionally high IQ and moved through school, very like high level of my class. And in high school, when it was time to decide what to go to college for, I was getting brought to the guidance counselor office every day. People were trying to like convince me to go to school for chemistry, for science, for aviation, be a politician. Politicians were sending packages to my house trying to invite me to these fancy dinners. Like, everyone was trying to recruit me. And I was just like, I'm going to dance and I'm going to pursue my art. Because back then, my main passion was that. And my teacher there was like, but you're going to be broke. I was like, but I'll be happy.
Right,
and so I've always carried that. And so, anyway, so I've been on that path my whole life. And COVID, when everything shut down, that was the first time since I was 11 years old that I didn't have a performance that I had to prepare for it. Literally. So for me, it was like, oh, yes, I am just going in. And the timing had lined perfectly. I had just did my debut album release concert and had been getting into my music production and was really wanting to start self-producing, which now I'm fully just like, I don't even go to studios. I have my own studio. So I just got to immerse. I got to indulge in my natural state. And so for me, what transformed is all of a sudden I felt this sense of resonance coming back to me from the collective of people needing my offerings. I also do mentorship, artist development work, true voice activation work. All of a sudden I was completely booked. So I was financially stable, and I got to invest all of that money over the 2 years into my music production, getting my right gear, getting my sound together, my startup regenerative media company, which we will be creating animation series in the future. Like, I invested into that. I just worked my butt off and got all my business stuff clarified, got all my just legacy work aligned and activated, and it wasn't a break for me. Like, introspection is just a part of my existence, but what I used the time for is to recalibrate and to energize everything that I've been like working on my whole life and like get it ready, like basically building the spaceship to go and fly through the galaxies and spread this art and spread this love and spread this medicine to as many people as possible.
That's awesome. Completely awesome.
Yeah, so I had a blast.
I love that. I love to hear that. So how did you get into the music business? Did you come out of the womb like Treneti is going to do her thing, this is music? Or was it something that you listened to, you saw? How did you get involved in the music business?
Well, I think for me, I'm a very different being. I'm definitely like on the spectrum. So relating to people with my voice when I was little was not possible. Like my social anxiety was so strong, I couldn't even speak most of the time. So I had this natural ability to dance though. And so my first relationship with music was by dancing with her and being inside of her and really getting to know what felt good in the body. And that took me all the way to 27 years old. I toured internationally. I've been featured. It was under a different avatar. I was featured in Vice Beijing. I was doing it as a dance artist. And then at 27, something shifted in my heart. And I had been like low key starting to sing and write songs from like 24 years old. I had this powerful Kundalini activation in a yoga class, and my voice opened and I started to sing more. But it was like this personal thing, almost like, you know, I had to come out the closet about it. It was like something I didn't feel comfortable sharing with others. And so at 27, it was just like my soul was like, this is what you came to this planet to do. And my life was chaotic and falling apart and dismantling and like all those things that happen when you're not on path, where it's just like, it's like everything is an explosion. All that was happening. And my soul was just like, you need to do music. You need to use your voice. And if you do not, the rest of your existence is going to be messed up and chaotic like this. But if you follow this path that you do not know, that you're completely terrified of, it will take you to your greatest destiny. And so I said yes. And I discovered, I had gotten the bass clef tattooed on my arm while I was in college for dance, just because I thought that bass was the best part of music. And as a dancer, it was like my favorite. But as I was looking for my instrument, I met this bassist who saw my tattoo, and he was like, oh, you're a bassist. And I was like, oh. And he was like, come to my house and play my bass guitar. So I did. And it was like love at first strum. And so from there, I just bought my first bass guitar. Her name's Caress. I still have her, acoustic electric. Went into the woods of Northern California and started playing and singing terribly out of tune, but allowing it to come through. And my first audience was turkeys and deer that would cross through the woods where I was playing and writing the songs that ended up being released 3 years later on Psalms of Saturn. But yeah, so music was always within me, and we always had a relationship, but she didn't start to embody through me until 27. And her embodying in me was also the awakening of my true self and the awakening of my voice and the liberation of my voice and the liberation of myself owning my feminine power. So I owe pretty much everything that I've become to saying yes to music.
I love it. I love it. Now, how important is it for you to be authentic in your life and your music as an artist?
100%. It's the only way. I don't know, like, I'm not a technical musician. Like, now I can, like, read scales and stuff because I've been in it long enough. It's like, after a while, you become to understand the patterns. It's very fixed. But my gateway to music is all through self-healing, introspection, death of ego, and listening and allowing. Like, the songs that I wrote on my bass, I didn't even know how to play my bass yet. So that's like the most authentic thing ever, when you're playing a song that literally came through you and you don't even know what key it's in. I'm showing up to practice with my band and they're like, what key is it? And I'm like, you're the one that speaks that language. Figure it out. I'm going to play you the song. Find where you fit. And that's how I started. And so for me, even now as a producer, when I'm in the studio, I play anything. Music comes through because I don't know anything. So it's 100% authentic all the time because I'm literally just allowing. So I make choices that people who are technically trained musicians, they don't make those choices because they are adhering to a system that's telling them that this is the right way to music and this is the wrong way to music. And these chords go with these chords and da-da-da. And that's beautiful, and that creates such technicality, like creates finesse, and it's awesome, and the world needs that. But the world also needs people who are just in full like surrender to the muse herself. And so that's more the side of the spectrum that I'm on. So yeah, authenticity is like the key. It's the only way.
I agree. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, what is a regenerative artist?
A regenerative artist is a artist who is creating for the purpose of co-nourishment. The process of creating the art is nourishing the artist, and the work that is coming through that process then becomes nourishment for the audience that receives that work. That's what it is. And yes, I made it up. But I didn't feel that there was a term that really was befitting for the type of way that I approach art and the way that the people that I work with approach art. And I do feel that we're on this just beginning doorway opening of a new renaissance. And it is like regenerative for me is like one step above or more grounded than visionary. Because visionary, it's okay, like a vision is great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come through in a holistic manner. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I completely understand. So your visual media is powered by soulful resonance. What is that?
Soulful resonance is my baby. It's my, like, I guess you could call us a startup animation company or a regenerative media company in general. And I created, Soulful Resonance was created from just the magnetism of bringing together these powerful cinematographers, visual artists, animators, digital concept artists, just people that started to, I met through my path that started to become staple expressors of the visual element of Treneti. And we realized that our ultimate goal is the same. And our ultimate goal is to create a animation company, to create animation series that are really crossing into new territories of innovation, of merging different disciplines into this form. So we've been on this path, and Treneti music is like an aspect of what we create, and we utilize the music brands to create assets that will later be utilized in our animation series when we get to that point. And so it was birthed through the COVID portal, through the 2 years that we were all in this cave together. That's one of the things that I was able to cultivate, and we're just starting to emerge, and we're just coming to life and starting to launch and be more visible and active, like into the world. So if you're interested in that, you can head to Treneti.com or soulfulresonance.com and get to know us, sign up on either email list to just be involved. We're getting ready to start announcing our first animation project that we're going to be doing as a company together. So there's just exciting stuff that's happening there, and it's all very new and fresh. And so anyone who's at all intrigued will be entering at the very beginning and able to watch the company blossom and be one of the people who was there at the founding moment.
That's awesome. Now, with the animation idea concept, as an artist, do you like to write and sing about the times that we are in? Some people, and the reason I ask this question is sometimes artists, well, I know a lot of artists that are like this, they don't even like to touch the subjects of what's going on in the world for fear that they will alienate their fans, okay? They don't like to talk about politics, religion, blah, blah, blah. I'm on the opposite end of that spectrum because I sing about everything. I could care less. I think that we all live in the universe and we can think right about what we want. Music obviously has to evolve. It can't be the same stuff over and over again. And I find that I've been writing and singing about the times, people will say, oh my God, I can relate to this. Because what I have found that because of all the past crap, I call it, that's been going on in the world, people are eager to get something or gravitate to something that they can hold on to. They want hope. They want to be able to relate to an artist. A lot of people say that they can't relate to mainstream artists. These people have a lot of money. They're doing this, that, and the other. They're not relatable. They may like their music, but they're not relatable. There's something missing from what they could get from those artists. So in regards to, I guess, controversial topics or not so controversial topics, do you perform those songs? Do you write those songs? Are you afraid to do it? Not afraid to do it? What's your take on that?
Well, it's really interesting because I have a very specific way that I like to express my words, and I really like to drop people into my music is experiential and it's introspective, and the way that I create to the times is by creating spaces that allow people to sink into what they need to receive right now. Not me trying to tell you what you need to think or how you need to feel because of how I feel. I'll share how I feel, but I share it in a way where I seek to tap into the universal voice and the universal truth around the energy itself, so that the song is timeless rather than timed, if that makes sense. So I speak to that, but I like to use things like wisdom. Wisdom can be found in riddle, in poem, like that type of way of communicating the messages. But yes, I do enjoy speaking to the times.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I don't write. When I write a song, I don't tell people what to do, but I tell them what I see, and I tell them how I feel. Like my song "Block" is basically about, we could have agreed to disagree, but no. You know what I mean? Hope you're not shocked, but you guys just got blocked. Go cry about it on TikTok. It's reality. It's the reality of what's going on in people's world. People block people all the time. They don't have time for it. I can say, okay, let's agree to disagree, and then half the time these people they lose their minds, or you learn things about you thought were your friends and they're racist. I learned a lot. The amount of people I said goodbye to is crazy. So, but I always tell people if they're coming to me with some stuff they want me to hear, I will listen to people. But at the end of the day, I tell them it's up to me to decide whether this is for me or not. And then if it's not, you should be able to still be friends and agree to disagree and move on. You know what I mean? But I also believe that as artists, you can sing about the times. My whole idea is to get people to think. People are closed-minded. They only see their point of view is to think, to get people to put themselves in other people's shoes. That's what I would like the world to do. Because people are so quick to say, well, they should, I don't know why they're homeless. They should get a job. They don't know that person. You know what I mean? And I'm a person that observes everything. People are by the stuff that I see or the stuff that I'll see and I'll talk about it, and they'll say, oh, how did you see all of that? Because I choose to observe. Rather than to judge people, I observe, and then I do some an analytical reasoning in my head, and I said, you know what? I need to bring this about to show people this is what people are doing, so that sometimes people can take a step back to say, okay, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. No, I'm just going to stay this way, yada, yada. It's just sometimes people need that. I think that's why I love Nina Simone. I love her. Like, who are your favorite artists?
Yeah, Nina Simone is so great. She's great. But I'm going to speak to this topic a little bit, and then I'll go into that. It'll be a perfect transition. But I'll give you an example. So I have this song I released around the time when everything was starting to pop off over in the Ukraine. and it's called Summation of Love. And it's speaking to the aspect of human consciousness that forgets our mortality and therefore is obsessed with these material gains. Most wars are really just about material. It's something on that land and that soil that somebody wants, and so this war is created to distract the masses while the earth is being raped in some capacity, either through something that's happening to her people that is being muted out, or something that's happening to her body that's being confiscated wrongfully. That's usually what war is about. And so Summation of Love, the lyrics are, fragile vessel made of clay, mighty is your ego, 1 in a billion, yet you don't need no people. You know, time and time again, you climb to gain, intending to make what? You can't take it with you. You know, all that matters in the end is the summation of love that you bring through. So for me, that's a way of getting people to come into that actual awareness state of like, what am I valuing? Where am I giving my energy? What am I doing with my energy, and for what purpose? Is it accumulating love, or is it creating a ripple effect of pain in this earth? What am I doing with my energy? Because I think when we can actually start to come out of the stories completely and into the actual like state of consciousness where what am I doing? I am a conduit of energy. What am I doing with that energy in this life? How am I reverberating the way, like this waveform that is me out to affect others? If we can think about that, then we can start to change. And sometimes stepping out of the stories and just into the actual like vibration is the best way to get there, because the stories can be cyclical and they can take you into different wormholes and things and such. But to your other question, segueing right off of that, the reason why I bring wisdom through lyrically in that way, or I guess what made me feel, not the reason why, but what made me feel permission to bring the message through in that way was Bjork, honestly. Like, she is my all-time favorite artist ever, because for me, I've been far weird my whole life. Friends, rejection, losing people because I'm different, people lashing out at me, attacking me because I'm different. This is my life. So all of this experience of shedding, of like, oh, I didn't know this person, I didn't know that person, or all of these things that a lot of people were having come up for them through this portal or feelings of alienation, that's my life. Like, I've always felt that way. I've always had people telling me that what I believed and felt and sensed wasn't real, wasn't true, wasn't valid, all the things. But this artist, Bjork, her unwavering rootedness in her truth, in her oddity and the beauty of her oddity, and in her message, which is about her life and about also the earth, and also about ways in which you can change your viewpoint of your own life and existence to make it serve you better. This is the wisdom that's woven into her lyrics, and she's one of those polarizing artists. Like, people either like completely fuck with her, or they don't fuck with her at all. And for me, that is success. She is like an elder. She is a crone now, and she is still touring. She still has this massive, beautiful following around her art that is so true to her and her evolution. Like, everyone who loves her is ready to see what she decides to create and bring through next. And for me, that's just like the most beautiful type of longevity that an artist can hope to create. So yeah, that's my all-time favorite artist, hands down.
Yeah, there's some people that, you know, if you're very different, they like to call you quirky or weird or strange. But I don't use, I actually call one of my friends that out of joking towards her. But, you know, I think people are who they are. I mean, I think people judge people because of the way that the United States or the different countries value people, how they see people, how they think people should be. But at the end of the day, you have to love yourself the way you are. There's no imperfection in that. There's perfection in that. See, and I don't believe in it. I don't believe in that anything's perfect, but I believe in perfection in the sense that you have to accept yourself. You have to love yourself before, because that's what you're putting out into the energy. If you don't love yourself, what do you think you're going to get back? You're going to get that right back. So if you love yourself, people that are supposed to be in your life will be in your life. I mean, I was picked on and all that stuff. I could care. I used to, but that's the way I was brought up, with caring about what people think. I'm at the point where, in life, I had to learn not to care about what people think. And my mom's always like, oh my God, but no, I don't care what people think. If we lived our lives caring what people think, we wouldn't be living. We have to do what we think that we are destined to do, something that's compassionate, loving, and all that stuff. Because when you say what people are destined to do, people sometimes will say, oh my gosh, well, what about if the person thinks he's destined to be a mass shooter? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about things that are like compassionate, loving, understanding, something that brings you to the world and stuff like that. So I completely get it. I think people just have to be in tune with who they are and not really care about what people think. People sometimes bully people because they themselves are not internally, they don't love themselves. So they have to lash out at other people. But you have to continue to do what you feel is right for yourself, move on with your life, and just know that whoever's going to be for you will be for you, and whoever's not is not, and you don't have to worry about those people. So I'm going to play your song, Galactic Cadillac. Tell me what that's about.
Okay, well, Galactic Cadillac, first of all, let's just go ahead and let the audience here know that this is an exclusive listen. This song is not out yet. Galactic Cadillac will be available to the masses on August 19th. So you getting to hear this now is a glimpse into the future of my sound and just to where I'm at with my production and the magic that's being created. And Galactic Cadillac it's an instrumental track. It's a journey, and it's just supposed to be a space for you to drop into yourself. So as you listen to it, let the music take you. Let it show you something inside of your own inner body temple that you haven't taken time to listen to today. So through listening to the song, allow it to create space for you to listen to yourself. And then you'll be riding in the Galactic Cadillac.
All right. Well, then let's play it.
Audio Jungle.
That was great. Very different.
Thank
I liked
you.
it. Now, do you think about putting your music in a sync and licensing? You do that?
Oh yeah, that's the goal. That's the goal. My music, time and time again, is reflected to me as cinematic, and there's nothing that would be more titillating to me than to have it be paired in movies, video games, animations, things like that, to even just be able to get more work composing specifically for projects like that. That's like what I'm about. Like, getting paid to just be in my studio that's the goal.
Awesome. I like that. Now, what do you love most about being an artist?
Whew. Wow. The creative process. I literally like love the process, just the feeling of receiving that initial idea and then like going on that journey to complete it. I love that. It's like the most liberating feeling when it's done, and the whole process, like you learn about yourself throughout the whole process. And it's, for me, it's just it's always been my lifeline of therapy, to be able to express myself through abstract. It's like where I feel that I'm most seen, like the way that I can like utilize mediums to share through music, through dance, through visual art. I feel like that's more like I'm able to show my soul there more than I can just in like a normal day-to-day interaction. And it's also like been the number one constant in my life. It's like there's so many things in life you can't control. There's so much chaos. There's so much destruction, personal and like, collective. And there's so many things that are just unknown and out of your control. And even the big questions of why we're here and like our relationship with our creator. I find through the creative process, I have something that I can control to a certain extent, because it is all about allowance. But I have a means to communicate with the energy that created me through the process of creating something here. So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to play your song Fast Drive on LSD. Tell me.
Yeah. So LSD is an acronym for Lakeshore Drive. It's actually both of the songs that we're playing. So I'm a cannabis enthusiast, have been my whole life. So Galactic Cadillac has this like blunt cruise through the cosmos energy going. Shout out to Mama Ganja. And then Fast Drive on LSD is about, I made this song, Fertile Now. The whole album was just like this root chakra album of thinking of my life growing up in Chicago, thinking of my ancestral roots back to Africa. And on that particular song, I was just reminiscing on times taking blunt cruises on Lakeshore Drive. And I love to play with words. And so I knew that if I named the song Fast Drive on LSD, that it would have a dual connotation, alluding to psychedelic experience as well. But if you're from Chicago, then you know what it feels like to drive fast late at night on Lakeshore Drive, or to be downtown up in one of the big buildings like the Drake Hotel or something like that, and be looking out over onto Lakeshore Drive and see LSD written on the road. So shout out to all my Chicago homies. Love you so much. This one's for the homeland.
All right.
Yeah.
Audio Jungle.
That was definitely tripping. Trippy. Is that the word? Trippy. Before I let you go, here's another question. What are 3 things you wish you had known before you got into the music business?
That's a really good question. Like, I actually put some thought into that. Oh, I don't even know if I can answer that yet.
Well, I can tell you that a couple of things for me have been, once you get into this industry, you have to be aware of shady people, because a lot of people will just pounce on you. I don't know. It's almost like they have some radar that says, "Oh my God, that's a fish ready for the taking. I'm going to tell her I can do everything for her, and I'm going to take her money." Blah blah blah, yada yada. The other thing would be you have to believe in yourself. And that music is extremely subjective. A lot of people still don't understand that. They get upset when people don't like their music, but there's somebody for everybody. There's somebody for everybody.
There's an ass for every seat.
That's right. Amen.
Yeah. I think for me, my path with music was a little bit different because I had already been a professional artist around a lot of musicians. As a dance artist and choreographer, I'd already been literally on production for several festivals, in the production, on stage, everywhere that you could be. I went to college for art. So by the time I started making music, I was so done with manipulative people that I was able to kind of have a little bit more of an accelerated path. And plus I entered knowing that I was in the far weird and that everybody wouldn't like what I had to offer. So that wasn't necessarily an issue. I'm trying to think of one. There has to be one. I guess if I could say anything that I see come up a lot for the people that I mentor, and this is definitely something that I think was crippling to me a little bit in the beginning, like feeling like it has to be perfect in order for you to be. I think that's a big thing that catches people up, and I have a lot of friends even now that are amazing, prolific artists, and they don't have any releases out because they're hoarding it because they're scared, and it doesn't have to be perfect. And once I was able to take off that Band-Aid of I'm scared to be vulnerable, I'm scared to get ridiculed because I'm not exactly where I know I should be yet, and just start to put myself out there, things started to open up, and there's it's like an initiation. There's steps that you can't skip steps. So you're waiting for perfection. You're just wasting time. You can't skip steps. And I left a trail for people because I think that's really important. I think a lot of artists don't want to share what works for them, don't want to share what they had to go through to become. And so I believe in leaving a beacon. So if you follow my SoundCloud, if you go all the way back, you'll find these things called New Moon transmissions. And I didn't even know what I was doing, but I would just go and record as simply as I could. There was no EQ, nothing. And just do transmissions with my looper and my bass. And from those little things that I made that I didn't even know anything about engineering yet, I was able to get my first bookings for professional shows. I was able to get on main stages. I was able to get press, and I was able to start. And I think that that's something that a lot of people hold themselves back with, is just being afraid to be a little bit messy in the beginning. And it's chill. It's totally chill.
I like that. Now, if you're going through tough times, what is a passage, quote, saying, word that you like to use, if you use anything, to push yourself through?
I like to pray. When I'm going through tough times,
all right.
I like to pray. It's not anything, because it depends on what the tough time is, and what that's bringing up. There's not a one and done mantra or thing to hear. that's going to keep you going. And depending on how severe the situation is, your head might be in such a dark space that you can't even think of it. So for me, I just try to, like, if I can at least muster the strength to speak to God, that's what I do, and just be open and say what's going on. And usually things start to open up and get clear from there. But yeah, it's not just like a one thing to say.
Yeah, it's whatever works for that person. I mean, I write my own narrative. I mean, I pray at night every night, but if I'm going through something, I usually just say or that is the only power acting in my life. Those are the things that work for me. And it's been very interesting to hear the words that come out of people during the interview, and people come up with some creative stuff that really helps them get through the day, and I love it. Because everybody goes through something, and they sometimes they need to remind themselves of certain things, and whatever pushes them is the thing that they have to use. Treneti, thank you so much for being on Chatting with Nat. I really appreciate you being on the show. I've learned a lot more about you. Obviously, you're a creative genius out here doing your thing. I like the fact that you are doing your thing. You don't, you're being authentic, and you definitely have goals that you're setting. You're a prime example of what other artists should do as well. To keep that focus going and helping other people. It's awesome.
Thank you for having me and asking beautiful, interesting questions. And thank you to everyone who tuned in and listened to today or in the future, in the infinite now. Sending you lots of love. And if you want to connect, just head over to treneti.com and sign up for the email list. Love and blessings.
I love it. All right, everybody. This is Chatting with Nat with multidisciplinary artist Treneti. And you don't remember what she said, you can Google her. I'm getting a T-shirt that says Google me. We are on too many platforms at this point. Every day they're creating a new platform to be on, and we have to be on there. We're independent artists trying to do our thing. Until next time on Chatting with Nat. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.